Hello, my professors. You are welcome to today's lesson. And in today's lesson, we have a simple task. We are going to look at the solution to the class test on modular arithmetic and trigonometry. Okay, so please, this is Mr. Hackman, your usual facilitator. Stick and stay with me whilst I walk you through the solution, which indirectly also happens to be the marking scheme. So the solution, you have marks attached that will guide you to do the needful, to mark. Okay, so quickly, let's see. So you mark and grade yourselves. All right, so let's look at the solution to the first question. So, okay, on top, we have the question. Okay, so as usual, we are asked to copy and complete the tables. So these two tables so you can see the addition, multiplication in modular arithmetic. Okay, so these were the tables given that we were asked to complete. Okay, then after that, we were asked to use the completed table to find the following. Okay, so let's look at the solution. After reading any question, the first thing that you do is what? You underline the salient part, if any, then you come and write solution. So maybe we are looking at, let's read the entire question, then underline the salient parts. Okay, so complete addition in modulo 5. So I have to take note of the modulo system that I'm working with. Okay, then what else? So all that I'm doing now, okay, basically is to help us to protect our marks. So use the table. So strictly, yeah, the condition is that we are supposed to use our table. So any evaluation calculation that, okay, the table cannot be used, okay, it means you cannot proceed from there, basically. So take note of that specific instruction. You can't go contrary to that. So now let's go to, okay, we are supposed to find M. There's nothing salient to underline there. Find the true set. So the true set is very, very critical. So this is equally what underline. So now we go and write solution. Then we set up to find, okay, or provide step-by-step, okay, presentation of what we have there. So quickly, let me go and pick the pointer so that you can clearly see where I am referring to in my explanation. So, this is the addition table, so we are going to complete. So the table that, the table values that, okay, came by way of my computation, okay, is what you can see in bold. Okay, so here as for this one, so trivial. I've told you in math, you don't trivialize any question, give it your maximum attention. So if you look at this, clearly you'll see that if you want to find this value, you have to do 2 plus 2, and that is 4. 4 mod 5 is 4. The number is less than your modulo, so you write it there. Then you come and do 2 plus 3, that is 5. 5 mod 5 will be 0. 2 plus 4, 6. 6 mod 5 will be 1. Okay, then 3, okay, plus 2, that will also give us 5. 5 mod, what do you call it? 5 will be 0. Then 3 plus 3, 6, mode 5, 1. 3 plus 4, 7, mode 5, 2. 4 plus 2, 6, mode 5, 1. 4 plus 3, 7, mode 5, okay, 2. 4 plus 4, 8, mode 5, 3. So that is how, okay, the table values here were arrived at. Now you come and do same. You only that this time around you are dealing with multiplication. Okay, so the first table value that we are asked to find will be 2 times 2, which is 4. 4 mod 5, is 4. Okay, then 2 times 3 will give us what? 6. 6 mod 5 will be what? Will be 1. So you do same, you multiply, then you convert the numbers to their corresponding modulos. Okay, in this case, the modulo 5. Okay, then you write it there. So please take note, this will be B4 for this table, B4 for this table as well, the multiplication table. However, if there is any wrong value, so look at the penalty, I'm telling you the penalty. The penalty will be minus half. So minus half for each error. Meaning if there is a wrongly stated table value there, it will be minus half. 2 will be another minus half. So that will be 1. So each wrong value, or what we call error, okay, will demand a penalty or warrant a penalty of what? Minus half. Take note for this table and equally for this table. Okay, so that will be it for question 1A. Okay, so definitely you can see that my solution is equally numbered because my questions are numbered. Now let's come to B. BI, we are supposed to use the table, and this is where most of you, okay, got it wrong. In fact, the order in which you did your computation, most of you got it wrong. Okay, so this is it. You know it's multiplication and addition, though you are still dealing with what? Modulo. You are dealing with modulo. You should know that modulo, you can see operation, the only that the operations are circled, but they are still operation. This operation is multiplication, this is addition, this is equally multiplication. So if possible, where they are not grouped, okay, please, this is what you do. Follow the order of what operation in dealing with what you have here. So the order of operation, I'm talking about BODMAS or PEMDAS. So BODMAS, our usual, we deal with what? Multiplication first. So come and work with what we have here. So this time, this is what you work on first. So 4 times 2, remember you use your table. If you go and do any other thing, apart from you using your table to get the value 4 times 2, and 4 times 2, okay, is giving us what? 3. So you write a 3 there. Then you bring your plus, and you come and do 3 times 4. Remember, we are dealing with what? The multiplication. So 3 times 4 will give us what? Okay, so 3 times 4 gives us what? 2. So that is what you also write here. So your first step here, okay, you extracting will be B1. Your first step here will be M2, and that should be this. Some of you moved this way. You did this, okay, times this, which gave you a result. Then you came to multiply, sorry, add the result, okay, to 3, then multiply. No, that shouldn't be the order. I think I have made my point that you follow. Okay, if you had this grouped, then the work would be easy, but it's not grouped, you can still group it. Okay, and do your calculation because you have to deal with the multiplication first. Okay, so now you come and do from your table again 3 plus 2, and you can find that from your table. So you come to the addition table, 3, okay, plus 2 gives us what? 0. So you write it. Then you can see that therefore is here. So I don't have to draw my conclusion. So this will be A2 as well. Quickly, let's look at what II. What are we supposed to do? We are supposed to find M, okay, with this condition. Okay, M multiplying, okay, M is equal to M, okay, adding to what? M. Okay, so take note of that. So with this is what you do. You extract. Remember, I've told you, I've encouraged you to do that. Here, ordinarily, somebody will write given. Somebody equally can write given here. And we are matured. So instead of writing given, we can write what do you call it? The therefore there straight away. So please, okay, take note, okay, of that. All right, so now with that explanation, you should know that here we are going to check for the validity of all the phase values of possible phase values for M, and that will be 1, 2, 3, 4. So you substitute, okay, these values into this equation and check whether it will satisfy. Okay, if it doesn't satisfy, then you move on to, okay, so if you take the first one, if M is equal to 1, so we are going to get 1 times 1. And 1 times 1 here, you come to the multiplication table. 1 times 1 will give you 1. Okay, so it means this side will be 1. Then M is still 1 here. 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1 here is 2. So 1 will not be equal to 2. So the equation will not be satisfied. Then you go and test for 2. Okay, so if M is 2, okay, 2 times 2, okay, will give you what? 2 times 2. Let's see, 2, this is the multiplication table, be careful. 2 times 2 will give you 4. So this side is 4. Now let's go and do 2 plus what? 2. 2 plus 2 will also give us 4. So that's satisfied. The one that's satisfied, you come and provide your, okay, evidence of work. Then you move on to the next one, 3. Okay, so if you check for 3 and 4, okay, none of them will satisfy. So this one, please, when one satisfies, I've told you, that doesn't mean that's the only answer. Make sure you've exhausted all the possible phase values testing. So you test for all of them. Maybe if you stop here, sometimes it will be possible that, okay, the other values will give you a possible solution. So take note of that. Be very critical, okay, about that. So on that note, to satisfy, you provide evidence, and if you compare, you see that your M will be equal to 2. So you draw your conclusion. Therefore, M is equal to 2. So you can see the marks there. Okay, allotted there. Okay, all right. This one I should have been pushed to the side. Okay, so let me see if I can quickly do the change so that it will look nice. All right. Okay, so I've done the editing. So what are we supposed to find? We are supposed to find the true set. It's similar to this. Okay, only that this time around, this one you were asked just to find the value. So here your conclusion is very critical until you leave your answer in the true set form. You don't move on to the next question. So with this one, to the same approach on the face of it. Okay, your possible values will be the values that you have there. Forgive me. Let me go for the laser pointer again. Okay, so on the face of it, your possible values of n will be 1, 2, 3, 5. So you go and test. So I'm going to do the test for maybe the first two as a guide. You use it to do the last two. Okay, or maybe do the first three. Okay, so now what do we have? This one, if n is equal to 1, you can see that this side has plus, this side has multiplication, so you should be careful. Okay, so 3 plus 1, let's see. 3 plus 1, plus is this side. 3 plus 1 gives you 4, so it means this side is 4. You can write it down. So n is 1, so let's try this one. This one will also give us 2 times 1 because n is 1. 2 times 1. 2 times 1 is giving us 2. And obviously the first one gave us what? 3 times 2. We did 3 times 1. Okay, gave us 4. And so they are not the same. This side will not be equal to that. Then you come to this side, so it means n1 cannot be the possible answer or the possible truth set. Okay, so now let's come to this. Okay, we come to the second one will give us what? 2. So if what do you call it? N is equal to 2. We are going to get, 2. So it will be 3 plus 2 because n now is 2. 3 plus 2, and that will give you 0. So this side is 0. Then this is 2. N here is 2. So it will be 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is what? 4. So the other one, you can see your result for this side, and this side will not be the same. So if you test, the one that will satisfy will be only 3. So let's go and check. 3 will give us what? So we are looking at if n is equal to 3, you get 3 plus 3. So 3 plus 3 will give you what? 3 plus 3 will give you 1. Okay, then you keep that. So your answer here is 1. Let's go and do this. N here is 3. 2 times 3. So 2 times 3 is also giving you 1. So obviously 1 is equal to 1. So n will be equal to 3. So you come and provide evidence for that n, which is 3, that's satisfied. And that will give you what you have here. You test it for all. I mean, here we've done the first 3, so the last one. But you realize that 4 will not satisfy. So here you draw your conclusion, by putting your answer in the true set form. And please take note, this is the penalty. If you don't put your answer in the true set form, it will be A0. Take notes, because I've taught you, I've said it times, without, a number, severally, that, anytime you read question, underline the salient part to protect our marks. Okay, so A0, if your answer is not in the true set form, A0, strictly take note. So in all, question 1 will be 25 what marks. So, take note of that. And this will take us to what? Question number what? 2, the solution for question, 2. Okay, so now, so we have the question 2 before us. Okay, question 2, the first one was just a practical question, and you can see that this question is a question that you've seen before. Okay, it's a question that you've seen before. Okay, so a question that actually we did it in class. Okay, so we have question 2A, a hawk, on top of a tree, 20 meters high, so that's the height of the tree, views a chick on the ground at an angle of depression of 39 degrees. Find correct two. So, as you read, you have to make it a point. Oops, forgive me, you have to make it a point to underline the salient part. So let's go and do that. There is a required approximation, so we have to. So we are supposed to correct that to our answer to what? 2 significant figures. So we underline that. Remember, we are protecting our marks. So the distance of the chick from the bottom of the tree. Okay, so with this question, there is no way you can deal with it without providing a diagram, because diagram is key. Remember I told you when I was walking you through that particular lesson. Okay, so questions after underlining, the next thing that you write is solution, question number. And here, usually you have to deal with points. Okay, once you are supposed to deal with points, okay, we need to, and what we have in the question, we're not giving points. So let's do a representation to get what? Our points. Okay, so at this point, this is what we are going to get. We are going to let, okay, A be the top of the tree, C be, okay, where the chick will be, the position of the chick, and B will be the bottom of the tree. Okay, so this is what we have. A, the top of the tree, B, the bottom of the tree, and C, the chick's, okay, position. Okay, and take note, I told you, and some of you were giving me funny diagrams. I was wondering. Okay, so this is it. I've told you that anytime an angle of elevation or depression is mentioned, there should always be a horizontal line. And the horizontal line will be your line of sight. That's the line of sight that you use to check whether you move up or down, okay, for elevation and depression respectively. So originally you were here on top of the tree, okay, and you want to observe, okay, the chick, which is down. So originally this will be your line of sight. So this is like your eye. Okay, so your line of sight here, you need to turn down an angle of 39 degrees before you can sight the chick. So this angle that you turn down here is what will be your angle of depression, remember. So we need to see this line, we need to see this angle, okay, as well. Okay, and so it means from here to here will be the line joining that will give you your 90. Did I say 90? 39 degrees, forgive me. Okay, but you know that obviously your tree usually will be treated as, okay, to be a vertical tree. Okay, and now you join. And you should know that because this line is parallel to this line, okay, this line becomes a transversal, okay, and the angles here will alternate and they will be equal. So now what do? We are looking for this distance BC. As we know there's a right angle triangle, we know the opposite and we are looking for the adjacent. So the best trig ratio to settle on will be what? Will be tan. So it means here tan, so but tan 39 degrees. So if you're able to draw this B3, you can see the marks there. Okay, tan 39 degrees will be equal to tan is opposite of adjacent. So opposite is 20 over adjacent, which is what? The length of BC. Okay, then what are you looking for? You are looking for BC. So what do? You cross multiply, and that will give you the M1 here. So if you cross multiply, it will be the length of BC tan 39 degrees. And I told you, don't write it tan 39 times the length of BC. Okay, let whatever that you are multiplying, whatever that is, always be a coefficient of your tan. Take note of that. Okay, so at this point, what do? We are looking for BC. You write it again before you do that, and you divide. I've told you, and that will be M2. So those of you who didn't do that, you will lose this mark. Okay, then, okay, this will cancel this, and you use your calculator. I've told you, don't use your calculator at this point. You use your calculator once to do only one approximation, okay, before your required approximation. So now what do? Okay, after writing it again and dividing, this will cancel. So we left it BC is equal to 20 over tan 39 degrees. Your calculator will help you find this. You can only approximate. So it will be meters and you approximate to 4 dp. Remember, your first approximation should be 4 dp. However, we are going to protect our marks. There is a required approximation. So in actual fact, we should have concluded by saying, therefore, the distance of the chick from the bottom of the tree, okay, and that will be lengthy, so it can be smart. Therefore, the required distance, and what is the required distance? Is the distance of the chick from the bottom of the tree, so it can be smart as well. So that will be equal to, we're asked to take this one to our result here to 2 significant figures. Remember your first approximation for dp before either your convenient approximation or this time around required approximation. So 2 significant figures. The first number here, 2, is significant. The second number is the second significant figure. So you look at the next digit, it's odd. 5 or more will be odd. So you add 1 to this, that will give you 25. And the rest will be dot. You place the rest by 0. So 0, 0, 0, 0. So it means if you replace that by 0, the 0, okay, will not be significant and can be ignored. So you ignore that, and that gives you 25 meters, and you indicate your approximation. So you can see the mass allotted there. So make sure you do the needful. There is therefore here, but only that, okay, this has covered that. So that means this is our conclusion. Then that will be it for A. B2 is a question that we've done in class. Okay, so the entire question here is a known question. So I was expecting everyone to get this correct, but surprisingly, some of you got it wrong. So if you have seen questions and you are not able to solve them, okay, then it means you have a workload, okay, on your shoulders. So please take note. You should know the questions and let the questions know you as well. Okay, and those of you who know the question and equally the question, okay, knew you, okay, you know, okay, that you were able to do it, okay, and protect all our mass. So quickly, that was just by the way. Let's look at B. B, what are we giving? Cos x is equal to 4 on 5. So you extract, that will be B1. Okay, remember with this one, to your representation will be B1. So if you extract that B1, this one, everyone should get it. Okay, just extract, copy and paste. Then now, okay, we know cos is what? SOHCAHTOA. So if you are not matured, then you have to go and write this and use it. Okay, so we know that car we know will be what? Adjacent over hypotenuse. So it means this is the ratio of your adjacent over the hypotenuse. So your adjacent will be the numerator, which is what? 4, and your hypotenuse will be 5. So it's a right angle triangle. So you go and draw your right angle triangle. Your angle here is x. You can put it here. In that case, this becomes your opposite, this becomes the adjacent. As for the hypotenuse, is always fixed. But usually, unless otherwise stated, it is convenient to put it here. So opposite now, then adjacent to this angle. So opposite, do we know? We don't know. Per the trig ratio given, the cos. Okay, but we know the adjacent is what? 4, and the hypotenuse is 5. So because you don't know the opposite, you represent that by a letter. Okay, and I told you not to use O. Okay, remember I told you, but some of you, the recalcitrant ones, still decided to do that. So if you use O, it will be -1 here. Please take note. You won't get the 2 marks. It will be -1. I've told you, avoid that. Let's do everything possible to protect our marks. Okay, in maths, I've told you, unless otherwise stated, never use O to represent anything, because it can conflict with what? With 0. Okay, so at this point, what do you do? By the Pythagoras theorem, we need to find the side before we can go and evaluate or find whatever that we've been asked to find. So if you proceed by the Pythagoras theorem, I know most of you wrote a squared would be equal to 5 squared minus, okay, but I've told you, you can quote the refined version. So those of you who quoted that one before coming to this, the first quote will give you M1 before, sorry, B1. Before the second quote will give you another B1, making it what? B2. But those of you who were matured and came to this one, the refined version straight away, you will get your B2 straight away. So at this point, you know this one squared, okay, and root of that, so you know the marks there. So that will give you 3 units. Without the unit here, minus half, take note. Okay, then now that you know your A, then you can find tan and sine as well, and therefore use it to find the sum of the two. So now I can come and draw my conclusion. Therefore, tan s plus sine s will be equal to, then I go and substitute. Tan we know is what? Opposite over adjacent. Now opposite is A over the adjacent 4, but A, we have found that that is 3, so it will be 3 over 4. Plus, okay, sine we know, sine x. Sine we know is what? Is so opposite over hypotenuse. So what is your opposite? Opposite is still A over hypotenuse, which is 5. By A is 3, so you get 3 on 5. So that will give you M2. So at this point, it's just a calculator way. Use your calculator, and that gives you this. Okay, then after that, remember, this fraction here is improper, and you've been advised, okay, to avoid concluding with an improper fraction unless otherwise stated. So that takes us to our next step, which is what? The mixed number version of what we have here. However, because this is trig, and trig usually we are dealing with a ratio, a number over another number. Okay, if you decide not to leave your answer in this form, okay, you are pardoned. You can give yourself A2 there. But because I want you to know that, make it a habit, unless otherwise stated, I will not conclude with an improper fraction. So that's why I've done that. So those of you who did it, obviously I realized that you were just being obedient, and that is very good. We are complying, okay, with the rules, going by the rules. So this one will also give us what? 25 marks for question 2. So it means in all, okay, question 1, question 2 will be 50 marks. Okay, 50 marks. Please take notes. Okay, the next question, I am going to say something there, then I'll come back here. Okay, there was an issue with this question, unfortunately. Okay, I think the question that I sent to you, the angles here were 40, 40. And if the angles are the same and they are on the same side, then it means they are on the same at the same point anyway. So that will not be a valid question, because they cannot be at the same point, and we will tell you that the distance between them, okay, is 46 meters. Okay, meaning they are 46 meters apart. Once they have the same angle of elevation and they are on the same side, you should know that they should be at the same point. If they are on the opposite side, then fine, they could have the same angle. But that should even tell you give you a certain picture. Okay, so because of that, because of this issue, okay, with your work, okay, some of you, this is what we are going to do. In fact, for those of us with the issue with this question, okay, the question 3, you are going to end with your marking here. So it means your total will be 50. Okay, so whatever that you had, okay, so let me write it here, okay, quickly. So whatever that you had, okay, please indicate that on top of your first page. Okay, and write over the total, which is supposed to be what? 50. So the total here is supposed to be 50 marks. Okay, because of the mistake in the other one. So indicate your score, whatever that you had, over the total score. Please listen, on top of your first page. Okay. However, I am still going to walk you through the solution for that one. So please, okay, give me your maximum attention. Okay, got you. So this is it. With this one, let me go for the laser pointer. Okay, so now this is what we have. And take note, this particular question here, it is Nigeria 2024. They are exams. They are WASI. So take note of that. Okay, so what do we do here? We need to read the question carefully, okay, appreciate the demand of the question, picture the situation before we can draw. Two observers, Abu and Bedu, 46 meters apart, so the distance between them will be 46. Observe a bird on a vertical pole from the same side of the bed. So it means they are observing at the same side, not opposite. Okay, so if you like, you can underline the same. Okay, for you to know, it will help you in giving the picture. Remember, I told you that you always have two situations, opposite and same, but here we are told that they are the same. Okay, all right. The angles of elevation of the bed from Abu's and Bedu's eye are 40 degrees and 48 degrees respectively. If at the foot of the pole, Abu and Bedu are on the same horizontal, okay, A, illustrate the information in a diagram, then B, calculate correct one. So again, let me go for, and we need to underline. So correct one dp. So there is a required approximation here, the height of the pole. So here again, you need your representation, because in the diagram we'll be using points. It is better, okay, you don't use the names. Okay, so use points. So get your representation. Let A, okay, Abu's position, B, Bedu's position, and C here will be the foot of the pole, and D will be the top of the pole. Okay, so in fact, so this is what we have. You know that the bed is, okay, here, the top of the pole. Okay, you know. All right, so at this point, this is it. Okay, 2 points. So let's say I gave you that scenario, but you should know, I've told you I'm not going to belabor the point. The closer you are, okay, to the pole, okay, the bigger your angle of elevation to sight what? Any object on top of what? The pole. Take notes. The closer, the bigger. Remember I told you. So those of you who brought this angle here, you started immediately you do that, your diagram is wrong and marking becomes so easy. Okay, at a point, if you are smart, you realize that the answers that you are getting would not make sense. So that should have prompted you, some of you, that please let me go back and check. Okay, so the diagram, if you're able to draw it correctly based on the information, remember we said 2 points, so they are on the horizontal ground, Abu, and so possible, let me quickly maybe explain for those who had issues. I think some of you have, okay, big issues. So let's do, so the two ways, either A will be here or B will be here. Okay, they are by the distance between them. I will realize that the one that will be perfect, if A is here, the angle of elevation of what A, the top, okay, to size what the bed is what 40. So if A is here, A is close, 40, no, that cannot be the true picture, because we know for a fact the closer, okay, you are, the bigger your angle of elevation. So this should tell us that this cannot be the position. So you swap. So this becomes the right, okay, positioning of what Abu and what and Bedu. So and the distance between them is this. So the diagram, once it's correct, the work becomes easy. Okay, so now what are we supposed to do? D, we need to find correct 1 dp, the height of the pole. So we are finding the length of DC. But because we introduce, okay, the letters there, we cannot conclude with that. So the other one too is the same thing. Okay, the previous one, we cannot conclude. So if you concluded with BC, you are wrong. Okay, you can't conclude with BC. So if you wrote therefore BC equal to this, you get A0. Remember, avoid concluding with what you introduce. I've said that, okay, severally. So at this point, now what do? You can see two right angle triangles, a bigger one, and I mean a smaller one and a bigger one. Okay, and obviously I've told you, whenever you have this situation, you can see that these two right angles triangle, they are sharing a common side, and that is the length, okay, the height of the tree. Okay, the height, in this case, the pole. So let me be more specific. Okay, so when you have this situation, I've told you, generate two equations, and because the equation will involve DC, make DC the subject, and later you go and equate and solve for whatever that you are looking for. So that is the plan. Before you had it drawn, you should know that by experience, that's how you are going to deal with it. So from right angle triangle BCD, so I'm taking the smaller one, BCD, I know, okay, I know some of you will come down, but I realize that the space here can take it. So comma, so tan, because here I'm looking for DC, and okay, this, okay, you know, you represent this by X because you don't know. Okay, so it will be tan 48 degrees is equal to opposite, which is the length of DC, over adjacent, which is X. Okay, so at this point you cross multiply, and that will give you the length of CD, which is what you are looking for, to be equal to what is here, X times what? Tan 48 degrees, which is S tan 48 degrees. So you call this equation 1. Then from our second triangle, the bigger triangle, which is ACD, okay, we know tan, so again, opposite, then adjacent. So tan 40 degrees will be equal, the opposite is still, okay, DC. However, the adjacent this time round is the whole of the AC that you have there, and that will be S plus 46. So that's exactly what I have here. I hope you are taking note of what the marks allotted there. Then after that, what do you do? Again, you are going to form an equation. Okay, so I've told you, before you label your equation, if possible, let it be devoid of fractions, okay, and equally bracket. So here I can see, okay, fractions, so I clear. I have to cross multiply, and don't use your lines to show your cross multiplication. I've told you. Okay, so at this point, what do? It will be the whole of this is a binomial times this, so you put it in bracket. Failure to put it in bracket will be M0. Okay, so once you fail to put it in bracket, that point marking becomes so easy. So it will be M0, the rest. You cannot, if you didn't put this in bracket, then it can no longer be the same as this. So it means you've lost your way. Okay, so if you didn't put it in bracket in your mind, you thought the bracket was there. So we should also think that the bracket is there and come and get this. No, we don't do it that way. Okay, we don't mark what you have in your head. We mark what you have on paper. Take notes. So if you put that in brackets, then it means you are supposed to follow for us to go through. If you didn't put it in brackets, then it will be M0, A0. So the entire marks here will go. So you go and sum the rest that you have up there. So here we have put it in bracket. We've done the right thing. So we are going to expand. It will be this time. Remember, we said it should be devoid of fractions and devoid of brackets. Fraction gone, but now we have brackets. So we are going to remove before we label. Someone can equally label here. In any case, no matter what, you have to expand at a point. Okay, so we have decided to expand before labeling. So it will be this times this, then this times this, which is what we have here. So the length of CD will be equal to this. So obviously you can see the equation 1 is equal to equation 2. So this implies that what you have here, okay, should be equal to what you have here, and that gives us this equation. Because this is CD, which is equal to this, and the same CD is equal to this. So if A is equal to B, okay, and the same A is equal to C, then it means, okay, B is equal to C. Take note of that. So at this point, okay, we are in a comfortable lead. Okay, you equate, because you are looking for X. Remember, if you know X, you know CD. Because the CD, the length of our CD, which happens to be the height of the pole, okay, its equation involves X here. So if I know X, I just multiply and I'm good to go. So here, this equation that I have formed, my target is to get X. Okay, and I'm done. So at this point, you collect all the terms in X on one side. So you bring this one here, okay, and you are going to get is equal to what you have here. Then you factor out your X, which gives you this. Don't approximate any of the trig ratios here. Don't approximate. So at this point, remember, X out. You write it again before you divide. Look at the marks there. Then once this one cancels that, you are going to get S is equal to this, but you can now use your calculator to approximate. Otherwise, if you approximated here, and you are going to, okay, divide an approximated value by another approximated value, a lot of approximations, okay, and that will move you away from the precise or accurate answer. So per advice, okay, we will avoid approximating until we get to this point where, okay, we cannot avoid. So please feed your calculator with this, and that will give you what we have here, 24 dp. Okay, without the meters, take note, okay, it will be minus half. Without the 4 dp, it will be minus half. Okay, so it means if you wrote this without the 4 dp and without the m, you won't get it. It will be A0. Take note of the penalty. So now that you know X, it means you know the height, because the height is the length of CD. So I'll write, therefore, the height of the pole would be equal to, we know it's equal to CD. Okay, so that would be equal to X, okay, which is this value, okay, then times tan 48 degrees. Okay, so at this point, what do? Just calculate away, and that will be equal to, okay, you get to use your calculator, that gives you what you have here. Also, you approximate to 4 dp. You indicate and you bring your m. But the question asks us to take it to 1 dp. Okay, remember we underline. So there is no way we will end here. Okay, all right, so 1 dp means, okay, so this is the first dp. So you check the next, okay, normal is hot. So you add 1 to it. So that gives you 157 dots. Okay, 0.9 meters. Okay, so now what do? You approximate it to 1 dp. You put it in brackets. Okay, you indicate your approximation. And again, okay, m not there. Okay, that one totally will be A0. But if m is there and the approximation is not indicated, it will be minus half. Take note of that. Okay, so on that note, if your question was right, later I changed it, okay, gave it to some other students as well. So if you happen to be part of the students who had the right question, then for you, your grand total will be 75 marks. So whatever that you had, okay, over your total. So if you had 50, it will be 50 over 75. Indicate that, don't indicate only 50. Take note. Okay, after going through doing your marking, if you didn't present your solution the same way, okay, as mine, please take note. We will discuss all outstanding issues in our next lesson. Okay, so please, thank you very much for sticking and staying with me. God bless us all. So we meet again.